Hey everyone, welcome or welcome back to How to Train Your Gavin. Thank you for checking out my video. I do not know how it's going to go or if it will continue to get me demonetized. I just put up a video with copyright in it. Just quit my job. I'm winning. But in this video, I will be trying my hand at 10 different yaoi books. Now, if you do not know what yaoi is essentially boys' love. It is a genre of fictional media originating in Japan that features homoerotic relationships between male characters. Now, it says on good old Wikipedia that it is typically created by women for women and is distinct from homoerotic media marketed to gay men. But it does also attract a male audience and can be produced by male creators. Well, thank God I'm allowed to read it. It also says that boys' love and BL are the generic terms for this kind of media in Japan. In much of Asia, though the terms are used by some fans and commenters in the West, yaoi remains more generally prevalent in English. So yaoi is how I will be describing these books. Now, this isn't my first yaoi book. I have actually previously read Dick Fight Island by Ruben Ike, and I really enjoyed this, actually. I read this back in February for Valentine's Day, and it was a great Valentine's Day, honestly. Fantastic. Love spending Valentine's Day by myself in my yaoi. So I will link the vlog down below where I read this, and another one called Wild Wild Wildlife, which I absolutely hated. It was so inappropriate. And I've heard from a lot of people that a lot of yaoi can be very problematic. So I'm kind of a little bit dubious about the choices that I've picked in this video, although I feel like these are a good selection. I do. I feel like they're a good selection. But yeah, this is the first yaoi I've read, so I'm not going into this genre blind. I have picked 10 yaoi books, but I've hit a bit of a snag. Two of the yaoi books I wanted to read in this vlog were Therapy Game by Meguru Hinahara and Therapy Game Restart. But this does have a volume 2, which I did buy, but it just hasn't arrived yet. I think a lot of manga, it's kind of hit or miss how quickly or how slowly you end up getting the manga books when you order them online. But yeah, it's taking a bit longer for volume 2 to come, so I can't really start Therapy Game Restart because this is like a continuation of Therapy Game. So I'm just going to be reading Therapy Game in this one and taking this one out, I'm afraid. I can't read this one until I've read this one. So putting that one aside, I will have to try and find another yaoi book to read because now I only have 9 and I don't want to just read 9 books in one video. I'd rather round it up to 10. You know, 10 sounds a lot cleaner, nicer. And why only get moist 9 times when you could get moist 10 times, you know? It's mathematics. So I've gotten housekeeping out of the way. I'm going to tell you the books that I'm going to be reading in this vlog, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Firstly, I will be reading Ten Dance 1, and it doesn't have an author on the cover, it just says Inusato Presents. And my pronunciations are going to be absolutely awful in this video, I apologise. I really have not read a lot of manga. Literally, Dick Fight Island was my very first manga, and that will tell you everything you need to know. So my pronunciations are going to be awful, but yeah, I'm going to be reading Ten Dance, and this is about 2 people who love to ballroom dance, and that's how they meet. There may or may not be explicit sex scenes in this. It's okay if there's not. Honestly, I'm not just expecting explicit sex scenes in all of these yaoi books. You know, I'm there for the story. I'm there for a bit of wholesomeness as well. Oh, we follow 2 people with pretty much the same name. Shinya and Shinya. One of them is a dashing lord of standard ballroom and the other one is a passionate king of Latin dance. And they both want to become champion of the 10 dance competition. In order to win, I think they have to like team up and learn each other's specialty dance, and love ensues. This one was recommended by Dog VA on YouTube. I absolutely love his channel so much. And I love him so much, oh my god. But this was a recommendation from him. He said he really enjoys it, so I thought I would try that one out. Then I have Change World by Yu Minajuki. This is volume 1. This is like the newest one I think that's on my list. It's not long come out. So this one follows Yasuki, and he's had a crush on Arabura, an upperclassman from his high school baseball team, for years before he finally confesses his feelings. They've been boyfriends for about a year, and then one of them gets hit on by another person, and I think it's just an examination into their relationship. It does say explicit content on the bottom there, so I'm expecting some steamy sex scenes. And yeah, it sounds like it could be both wholesome and sexy. Another one is Crimson Spell by Ayono Yamane, and this is volume 1. This one is a bit more fantasy based as well. Like, I've actually got a fantasy boy love manga in this. Love the cover of it too, it looks so good. This one follows a prince who has been cursed and he becomes like a demon at night. I'm getting strong Shrek vibes, not gonna lie. And the only way to satiate this demon is to satiate his lust. And then he goes on this journey with a handsome sorcerer to break his curse. It sounds so good. Like, this one I probably expected to be the best one of the bunch. But it sounds like if you're a fan of Shrek, you might like Crimson Spell. I also have Dick Fight Island Volume 2 by Ruben Ike. I'm so excited to read this because, as I've said, I really enjoy Dick Fight Island. There's a lot of bums on the back as well, I love that. In the first Dick Fight Island, it was essentially a group of guys who have to have dick fights on an island to see who would become king of the island. It's so funny. It's so good though. Very steamy, and I had a crush on like nearly every single character in that. Yeah. That's all that needs to be said. Okay, the next one I don't actually own physically because I had to buy it on sublimemanga.com, and that is Grey's Anatomy, which I am a huge fan of Grey's Anatomy. I love that show so much. So when I saw that there was a gay manga based on Grey's Anatomy, I was like, this is genius. This is absolute genius. So I have episode 0 as well as just the standard volume of Grey's Anatomy. So there are only 2 in this series, and I believe it's a bit of an older manga as well, and it's no longer available in print, but you can get it on the Sublime Manga website. So that's what I did. It says here that Dr. Shiraishi is uncomfortable around Dr. Suda. There's something about him that he admires and wants to be near, and it's not just because he's a talented neurosurgeon. How did they get together, and what made Dr. Shiraishi change everything in his life just to be close to one man? The erotic and heart-wrenching love story between 2 doctors begins. That sounds so good. You know how people ask authors, like, what's a book that you wish you wrote? I wish I'd thought of this idea, and I mean, is it too late? Could I do like an adaptation of like a full-on novel of Grey's Anatomy? We'll see. And then I also have There Are Things I Can't Tell You. This one, again, looks rather wholesome, or at least more story-driven than just like sex. This one follows Kasumi and Kyusuke, and they are polar opposites when it comes to their personalities. Kasumi is reserved, soft-spoken, shy. Kyusuke is energetic and has always been popular among their peers. As the saying goes though, opposites have a tendency to attract, and these 2 have been fast friends since elementary school. Now school is over, their relationship takes a bit of a turn. And yeah, it sounds like it's going to be very wholesome and very sweet. And then I do have the first volume of Therapy Game. So this one is about Shizuma, who is apparently straight, but one day he wakes up, having been recently dumped, spooned by a man. Seems to be a bit of a drunken fling, but then I think things happen between them 2, and I think they develop a relationship. Again, just love. Lots and lots of love. And then finally the last physical book that I own. And then we'll go shopping together. Let's go shopping together so I can pick my 10th yaoi book for this vlog. So I do have Scattering His Virgin Bloom, Volume 1 by Aya Sakyo. And this one is brand new as well. And as soon as I saw it come into store, I was like, oh, that's totally mine. Love the sound of it as well. We follow Hannah, who is apparently an Omega, frequently mistaken for an Alpha, which I'm not really too sure of the terms of yaoi, so I'm going to have to like look into that kind of stuff. So he works at a local cafe, he's 26 and he's still a virgin. Then we have Alpha Renjaku come in, and he is a bit of an arrogant customer and stuff, but Hannah ends up going in heat, and yeah. I love what it says on the back. Will a sought after alpha such as Renjaku take his coffee and go, or will he take something much sweeter instead? It was that line that really sold me on this story. I was like, mine. That does feel pretty nice, not gonna lie. Okay, so that's just 9 books. Let's go shopping for my 10th. So I'm on the Sublime Manga website. Let's have a look. Black or White, his favourite. Find it. Ooh, he's hot. But volume 11? Oh, there is volume 2 of Change World, but I want to read volume 1 first to see if I'm gonna like it, to be honest. Let's do that. Explore Manga by Sea. Am I in love or just hungry? We've found a winner already, I think. We have found a winner. All college first year Hinata Nishiyama wants to do is find a cute upperclassman to fall in love with and fulfill his dream of having a satisfying campus life experience. But second year Neo Shibasaki was not who he had in mind. Neo convinces the buff former soccer champ to join his eating circle by telling him it's full of cute girls. Unfortunately for Hinata, Neo is a bit of a liar. Looks like the only upperclassman Hinata has got a chance with is the annoyingly persistent Neo himself. Okay, I mean, I love the title, not 100% sure of the plot, so let's just keep browsing, I guess. But that one's top of the list. Bad Boys Happy Home. Oh my god, what is that? Till Morning. The Boy Can't Help It. That looks cute. Boys Be Ambitious. Oh, that also looks cute. Look how happy he is. Look how happy he is. Aw. Let's have a look at this one. Boys Be Ambitious. When gorgeous transfer student Kazuma moves into the ramshackle Akaboshi High Boys dorm number 2, he immediately attracts the interest of resident airhead with a heart of gold, Masaji. Kazuma relentlessly rebuffs and abuses the other boy. Okay, I'm not going to read that. I don't want any of that. Thank you. Cigarette Kisses, Coyote. That looks pretty hot. Crimson Spell, which is what I got. Oh, Dog Style. Drops of Desire. Escape Journey. Oh. What? Is that a gun and he's pointing it to his... Okay, I'm not going to read that one. Oh. Given. I have heard good things about Given, actually. I believe Given has quite a few volumes. And I'm sure Given has been quite popular. So that's volume 6. Where's volume 1? So Ritsuka is bored with it all, with school, with his basketball club, and even with his one true passion, playing guitar. That is until the day he finds his favourite hidden napping spot occupied by a strange boy cradling a broken string guitar. At first, Yunayama is nonplussed by Mafuyu, Sato, and his slightly odd behaviour, but when, on a whim, he asks Mafuyu to sing, the power of that song pierces him to the core. Ooh. Teen Plus. Oh, that sounds pretty cute. I think we're going to go for that one, I think. Right, there we have it. Those are the 10 yaoi books that I will be reading. I might do a fun little Instagram story thing to pick the order in which I read them. So I will, you know, in the next half hour, put it up on my Instagram stories and see what people vote for. So what shall I pick as the first 2? Maybe I could start off with the 2 kind of more wholesome ones, you know, just to make sure that we're not diving headfirst into the smut. Give you something to look forward to, doesn't it? So yeah, I might actually put up my Instagram stories and get people to vote which one I should read first, this one or this one. And we'll see what I end up reading first. I have some sushi and we're about to find out what won the poll. What am I reading first? Oh, okay. I was actually expecting the other one to win this. So out of 10 Dance and There Are Things I Can't Tell You, There Are Things I Can't Tell You won. I mean, it's only been an hour since I posted the poll, but yeah, 64% voted for There Are Things I Can't Tell You. Looks like we're starting off with this one, lads.
Got a dopamine rush, got a major league crush when you're next to me.
Can I read you a story?
Got my heart upon my sleeve, can I hide the way I feel when you're next to me, girl? Got the kick in every move and I fought it's like a fool for you, for you. Wish I knew just what it was, but why should I make a fuss? Just stay next to me, girl, next to me, girl. Something special, don't know why, something special that I like about you, about you. There's a mystery entwined, something bigger to define about you, about you. Am I the only one to see? Got me down on my knees, taken by your gravity. And I just know you got that something, something special about you. Got me under lock and key, but I don't wanna be free when I'm next to you.
Yeah.
You're like honey to a bee. I go crazy for the sweet when I'm next to you, girl.
Shit. I've just spilled everywhere. Don't lick it, Ash. Don't lick it. No, don't stand in it either. You're standing in coffee. You're standing in coffee.
The kick in every move and I fought it's like a fool for you, for you. It might seem that I'm dumb, but it's you that's got me stunned. Stay next to me, girl, next to me, girl. Something special, don't know why, something special that I like about you, about you. There's a mystery entwined, something bigger to define about you, about you. Am I the only one to see? Got me down on my knees, taken by your gravity.
There's literally no way I'm gonna get this read with you, is there? Is there? No, there isn't. No.
Something special about you. Got it down, shake my ground, and I can't get enough. Got me spellbound.
Oh my god, this was really sweet. It's so wholesome, so cute. The relationship between Kasumi and Kiyosuke was just so lovely. There's just so much pining for one another, and yet they can't really be too honest with each other either, because they don't believe that what they're doing is right or how they feel is right. Because there's like so much, I guess, kind of miscommunication or a few roadblocks between them actually getting together. And even when they kind of do, Kasumi is like, you're just doing this out of pity, aren't you? I never want to see you again. And then creates a little bit more drama that was a little bit unnecessary. But it was just so wholesome as well. Although, actually saying that, there were still a couple of steamy scenes. And one of them just happens so randomly. Like literally in 2 panels at the very end, they've just decided that they really do love each other and they're going to be honest with each other. And Kyosuke says, I want to share my life with you, Kasumi. And then literally 2 panels later, he's got his dick out and he's like licking it. It like literally just comes out of nowhere. But you know what? Low-key love it. Had a really wholesome story. It was just so nice. You can really see that they care for one another and like really do love one another. But yeah, they just have so many feelings that they believe that their feelings aren't right. Oh, it's just so good. I don't know if you can hear him purring, but he's a very loud purrer. They say I love you so many times too. It's just as sweet as Heartstopper. Ow. Yeah, a little bit like Heartstopper, but more adult. And I was worried this was going to go into a bit more of a dramatic direction by the end of it. But fortunately, it didn't. It did, you know, go very, very steamy very quickly. Yes, it did. But I still loved it. I thought it was awesome. How am I going to rate these books? I'll rate them out of steaminess and enjoyment. In terms of steaminess, I would probably say 7. There were only a couple of steamy scenes. And they were quite quick, but because it felt so romantic, it was just so nice and lovely. So I really enjoyed that. And then in terms of enjoyment, I would probably say an 8. Like, I really did enjoy this. I thought it was really good. It'll probably be the sweetest, most wholesome book in this video. Ow! And I'm so glad we started off really strong. So the people of Instagram, thank you so much for voting for this one to be the first read. We started off very, very well. Loved it. Now, I'm just going to spend some time with me little baby boy. And then I'm going to read the next book, which I think will be Ten Dance, or I might read one of the more steamier ones. Like really filthy ones, you know, that I have. You know what? I'll get the people to vote. So I've decided next I'm going to get the people of Instagram to vote for Change World or Crimson Spell. I feel like one of these is a good option for the next read. Right, I seriously need to pick up the pace on this reading vlog because it's nearly 6 p.m. I've read one book. And I just spent like an hour napping with the cats. So what one was a Crimson Spell or Change World? Let's have a look. You kidding me? It's literally 50% and 50%. Okay, so it says Crimson Spell has 54 votes and Change World has 53 votes. So it looks like we're going with Crimson Spell. And then once I've read this one, I'll go to Ten Dance and then Change World because they are the ones that lost the vote on the first 2 Instagram story polls I've done. And then I'm just going to go into reading just what I fancy because we've got to pick it up. We've got to pick up the pace. Oh, this was extremely steamy. Up until that bonus chapter, I was like living for this. And then that bonus chapter was just so weird. I really could have done without that bonus chapter, quite honestly. However, overall, this was so good. I really enjoyed that this had such a good plot. Who knew? Fantasy, very, very well done. I think it was really intriguing and it was actually really funny as well. There were some moments that genuinely made me laugh. The banter between the 2 main characters as well, Vald and Halvar. Vald is the prince that turns into like a beast. And Halvar is the sorcerer who is going to try and help him lift the curse. And yeah, they have really good banter together. There are some moments that are quite funny, like Halvar told Vald not to kill a dragon, but then he kills the dragon, and Vald is trying to listen for the dragon's pulse and stuff. Like it sounds silly, but it's just so funny. And I'm just invested in the story. There is going to be a volume 2. I'm looking forward to seeing how it'll progress. Talking of the steaminess, then this gets like a 9 out of 10 for steaminess, I think. It just... oh gosh, it had quite a few steamy scenes. Definitely more than the 2 from the previous book. There are things I can't tell you. More than that. And both characters are quite hot. And the fact that the sorcerer has to have sex with the beast in order to kind of like tame him a little bit and calm him down is just like... This is what my English degree has come to. We get a bit more interesting backstory on Halvar, and he got banished from a kingdom like 10 years before. And there's just like little places in different areas that you get to explore too, and they were really good too. There's also like this really cute little rabbit thing, a little bit Pokemon-esque-ish. It's so cute. Oh yeah, it's called Leithregveal. It's like, yeah, a really cute little rabbit spirit thing that can become a human. But then the bonus chapter was really weird. Vald ends up getting raped by a plant. Moving on from that, really solid. It's going to get 9 out of 10 for steaminess. And you know what? 9 out of 10 for enjoyment too. I think having the fantasy element in this made it like such a good story to follow. Actually, I was like really super duper invested. Yeah, it was great. It was great. So next I will read Tendance, and this is Connor from Sea Dog VA's favorite. I'm not going to do any more polls. It's getting late. It's 6:30 now, but I am expecting this to have less steamy content than the rest of them. So we'll see how we get on. There was absolutely no sex in this, but I kind of didn't mind. This was steamy in a different sense. I mean, not too steamy. I think in terms of steaminess, it would probably only get like a 3. But what was kind of steamy was the connection between the two main characters, Shinya and Shinya. The sexual tension between them, the slow burn of them two together. Now, because both of them are learning each other's sort of speciality dance, they frustrate each other so much, and it's so entertaining to watch them, and it's almost like enemies to like slow burn lovers. I don't really know, because there isn't a whole lot of development in their relationship in this first volume. I did look, and there are 6 volumes in English right now, and then volume 7 is coming out in October, I think it is. So I'm expecting things to really pick up with later volumes, but in terms of volume 1, not a whole lot happened between them. It was really entertaining to watch. It was still quite hot to watch. Probably the like steamiest thing that happened relatively early on, when they're first kind of, you know, learning the hold and getting attuned with each other's kind of style. There's a part where they kind of get really close. Shinya says, looks like our dicks make contact too. And it was actually really funny, but like kind of hot as well. But if anything, this has just made me want to pick up the rest of the volumes and to see, you know, will they, won't they? You know, this is a will they, won't they. Very slow burn. And I kind of like the look into ballroom dancing too. It was kind of technical in what you learned, especially with like the moves and what they were doing. Some of it was explained, and it was really cool actually to learn. It felt more real. So good. Connor has taste. So I would probably give this like an 8 in enjoyment. So I feel like this is probably just a little bit above There Are Things I Can't Tell You. Okay, so the books I've read so far, I'm putting in order of how I prefer them. So Crimson Spell, then Tendance, then There Are Things I Can't Tell You. But all of these have been above an 8 so far in enjoyment scale, so that's really good. We're off to a fantastic start. So next is Change World. I'm going to read this. I mean, I've already kind of said what these are all about at the start, but yeah, just refreshing my own memory. Yusuke has a crush on Arimura, and they get into a relationship, but somebody else hits on Arimura, a former college upperclassman, and it kind of throws a shadow over their dream relationship. But explicit content, there's definitely going to be sex in this, so bring it on. I'm starting to get a bit tired of reading Yaoi now. I mean, this wasn't bad by any means. It's probably one of my least favourites so far. And also, I didn't realise this is also a sequel to something. In the afterword of Sayonara game, which explores how Iko and Yusuke first met, so there is actually something before this. I mean, not that I think it really matters, because this is just looking into a certain part of their relationship and how somebody gets kind of in the way of that, but also the strain of the relationship between them themselves, because they have a lot going on, and like the constant working is also putting a spanner in the works, essentially like making them seem a little bit more distant than they really want to be with each other. So like, I don't think you really need to read Sayonara Game to read this one, but still I feel like I probably should have read it first, and it was fine. It was fine. I did quite like the drama that Hizumi brought to the relationship. So we do follow Yusuke and Arimura, and Hizumi, yeah, he told Arimura to break up with Yusuke, and that was dramatic, but then it just leads to a bit of an emotional confrontation between Arimura and Yusuke. Then it just leads to sex. And I love how we can be knee deep in a really emotional moment, and then the next second they're knee deep in each other. I love the juxtaposition there in Yaoi. It's just, nobody can transition like that except in Yaoi. And it's good, But I will say, like, it had a couple of steamy sex scenes in it. It was absolutely fine in that regard, but I think I'd probably just give it 7 for steaminess and probably 6 for enjoyment. It was very melancholy, not a whole lot of plot going on, and just the relationship between the two main characters, it was fine. Like, I didn't really feel a whole lot of chemistry. Maybe if I had have read the Sayonara Game one, maybe I would have felt differently. Who knows? Maybe you do actually need to read that first. Who knew? But so far, probably my least favourite of the bunch. So I think next I'm going to read Grey's Anatomy. And because I have that on PDF, because I downloaded it from that Sublime Manga website, because it's out of print, I will have to read it on the computer. Should I read episode 0 first? I want to read episode 0 first. I don't know if that's what you actually have to do, but that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, this is one that I'm actually being really excited to read, but I'm also really nervous because it looks like it's just going to be a badly written porno, but we'll just have to find out. I paid for this. Okay, to be honest, I can't really recall everything I read because episode 0 or whatever the Grey's Anatomy thing was all over the place. Everywhere and nowhere at the same time. It was very rapey. And I'm going to read the next volume. There was a lot of ownership of people's bodies. A lot of you're mine. And I can imagine this is probably what like bully romance is like. Or at least like some bully romance. Probably not all bully romance. I'm sure not all bully romance is like this. But like it's just so mean. So creepy. I mean, I didn't enjoy it, so I'd probably give it a 1. 1 for enjoyment. Steaminess. There was so much sex in this. Like this is the most sex I've ever read in a manga. The steaminess would be quite high, but I don't want to give it a high steaminess rating because it was rapey and vile. So I want to give that a 1. It was not okay. And I feel like because the main character, he had been filmed years before, like being raped by a few other like medical students. The love interest, like I don't care to remember their names, I really don't. The love interest, who is very demanding and claims ownership of him, is like kind of exhibiting the same behaviors that he had in that video when like the main guy is being raped. And I feel like he has like a lot of trauma, and now he's kind of like internalized all of the feelings that he had, so that the dominating, toxic, controlling nature of the love interest is like turning him on because of all of that trauma that he went through in the past. Does that make sense? Like, I'm not his therapist, but it sounds like that's something that should be explored, unpacking that, helping him through that. But this is not healthy. So it wasn't sexy. I didn't find it sexy, even though it had so much sex in it. And you know what? This is the one I had quite high hopes for because, as I said, I'm obsessed with Grey's Anatomy. And when I hear Grey's Anatomy, it just sounds like such a genius idea. And to be honest, not a whole lot of this was said at the hospital. For some reason, we went on a tangent going on about like being the heir of like this business and not even being sent to the hospital at that point. I'm just like, why? Also, there was a really dramatic part where a nurse stabs I think it was the main character. I couldn't recall at that point which character it was, because she loved the love interest and she wanted to marry the love interest, but he wasn't interested in her, so she stabbed someone. Dramatic, yes. Good, no. So yeah, that was really not good, and I paid for that. I paid for it. How much did I pay for it? I think I paid like $6.99 or something for that. Yeah, now we're gonna have to read the first volume now. I think it's the same characters. Oh my god, even the first freaking page of the next one is the main character saying, I can't anymore. And it's like, he just looks like in distress. Alright, yeah, it is the same characters. So the main character is Dr. Shiraishi, and the love interest, who is very dominant, is Suda. And so we looked into how they kind of became a thing in the previous volume. So now this is the next phase. Yeah, and they're like in a relationship now. It just doesn't seem healthy. It really doesn't seem healthy. But I'm gonna have to continue on. It's 183 pages. Let's go. Yeah, Grey's Anatomy is not it. It is not it. It was one of the most hyped books for me in this vlog, and I would not recommend. The relationship is just so unhealthy. And you know what? I feel like if you hadn't seen how it came to be in episode 0, it wouldn't have felt as bad to begin with. But then you can just really start to see, it's almost like Stockholm Syndrome, you know? Like, it's just, I feel like that's what the main character ends up having. He says he's possessive and that's what comforts me, because that's the only way I know he still loves me. And then he's talking about how much he loves him and how much he needs him and how much, well, he doesn't want to think about what you do without him. And he's obsessed. And when you see how that obsession began, it's not healthy and it's not right. So that was another terrible one. 1 in steaminess, 1 in enjoyment. What an absolute joke. I genuinely hope none of the other ones that I want to read are this rapey or have this level of toxicity in the relationship. And I think this was like written in 2007. Like this is the oldest manga that I'm reading in this vlog. Maybe that says it all. Maybe mangas or yaois from that time period are a lot more, well, problematic than the ones that are released today. Because all the other ones I'm reading are a lot more recent and they've come out in like the last 3 years. So I'm not too worried about the rest of them, but there was just nothing to enjoy about this new volume of Grey's Anatomy. Either volume of Grey's Anatomy, do not read them. Do not read them, and I spend money on them. Do not be a clown like me. I'm excited to go on to something that's actually good next. What am I going on to next? I have no idea. Let's have a look. I've left all of them in the library room, so let's go. Let's go, lesbians. Let's go. Oh, fuck. Shit, no. The cat's toys are fucking everywhere. Right, what am I reading next? Oh, you know what? Well, actually, I want to change into something a bit more comfortable. I mean, I've got 3 of these left, and then I also have Given. I think that's what it was called. That I also have that I need to read digitally, which I don't really fancy reading on the laptop again right now. So I'll probably read that one last. I'll read these 3 first. I mean, I'm the most excited for this, but I'm still going to wait a little bit longer. Dick Fight Island, I think, is the next one I'm going to read. Dick Fight Island Volume 2. I've been so excited for this one as well. Really enjoyed Volume 1, as I've said. Yeah, I think Dick Fight Island is the next one. It already looks like it's going to be amazing. Oh my god, like literally the first panel. But also, can I just say as well, I haven't really been mentioning the art style of the mangas yet, and I really should have, because the art styles in most of them have been absolutely gorgeous, really. They've all been really well. I mean, the Grey's Anatomy one is quite outdated. The dimensions of the characters were a little bit out of proportion. But, like, say Dick Fight Island, like, just having a little look, it looks beautiful. Honestly, the illustrations are gorgeous. And it was the same with, like, Ten Dance and Crimson Spell, and all of the ones I've read so far, apart from Grey's Anatomy. And this one is no exception, so I'm excited to dive in. Let's get Yaoi back on track. I knew it, I knew it, I knew it. Dick Fight Island Volume 2 coming to save the day. Oh, this was so good. It was so hot. Wasn't expecting or really knowing what the story would do or how it would go following the first volume. Oh, but it was so good. It was so hot, so steamy. Oh, genuinely don't know if anything can come close to this and the steaminess. Yeah, I'm talking about this in front of my kids. Gosh. Sorry, kids. I'm sorry. I finished it like half an hour ago, but I couldn't move because I had both the cats lying on me. It is what it is. It's nearly midnight and I've only managed to read 7 manga today. That's right, 7, yeah. And I wanted to do all 10 today. Oh. I don't have time. I don't have time not to finish these tonight. But Dick Fight Island Volume 2. The first couple in this, because we go through different kind of couples as the book goes on, but the first couple, Matthew and Harto, oh my god. So Harto has come to university from Dick Fight Island, and his roommate is Matthew, and honestly, Matthew is gorgeous. Absolutely freaking gorgeous. Oh, and Matthew isn't used to the customs of Harto and, like, how he just, like, bears his ass. Like, he just has his ass out, and, oh, it just, like, leads to things, and it's just so hot. There's, like, other things going on as well. We do go back to Dick Fight Island, we follow another couple, and things like that. Like, we have different kind of stories within this story. Oh, it's just so good. It was so good. Yeah, it was quite romantic. It's just so good. And I love the kind of idea of the island and the different clans and how, you know, showing your ass to someone is a sign of respect. It's great. It's a great time. Honestly, it's so fun. So hot. So in terms of steaminess, 10. In terms of enjoyment, 10. It gets 10s across the board. 10s across the board. Yeah, I think this is my favourite. Oh, I don't know, actually, Crimson Spell had a better plot. Crimson Spell had a better plot and a better world. This was so much hotter, though. And honestly, Matthew and Harto, they are, like, my couple. I love them. I love them. And Matthew is, like, a little bit of a nerd. Oh, stop it. Stop it. Honestly, nerds are my thing. Anyway, yeah, I think this is the best of the bunch so far. And it restored my faith in the Yαoi. Reba Nike, I love you. 2 more physical books to go. 1 more digital book to go. I do kind of feel a bit more rejuvenated and revitalized since reading Dick Fight Island Volume 2. So I really do think I could end up getting Therapy Game and Scattering His Virgin Bloom read tonight. Well, it feels a lot shorter. And so does Scattering His Virgin Bloom than Dick Fight Island Volume 2. Volume 2 of Dick Fight Island felt quite thick. You know, very, very thick. The therapy game seems a little bit smaller, and I'm excited for Steam. I honestly would have gotten more read if it weren't for my cats distracting me, honestly. What can I say? The pussies get my attention. I've bloody done it again. This is a sequel. And I didn't realise until I got to the very end when I got to the About the Author page. On the About the Author page it says, Therapy Game is Meguro Hinahara's sequel to a debut title, Secret XXX. I thought this was the original, and then Therapy Game Restart was like the spin-off from it. And to be honest though, I don't think it really hindered my enjoyment of it. I do think this is still like a really good yaoi. I really did like Shizuma and Minato, who are the main characters. There was a bit of angst in this because Shizuma was straight. I mean, this does move along very fast, but Shizuma, well, said he was straight. He's bi-curious, but he believed himself to be straight at the beginning. And Minato is gay, and he wants to get his revenge on Shizuma, kind of for forgetting their drunken fling together. And Minato ends up making a bet that he can seduce a straight guy to his sisters so that Shizuma has no idea about this bet. And it leads to some drama later on. It does lead to some drama. And there are certain scenes that are quite steamy, and it's quite a nice story of seeing how those two characters get together. And it was just like a really fast though. I mean, for somebody who, even though he is bi-curious, he says I love you so quickly. I just don't get why the love moved as fast as it did. So it made it a little bit unbelievable. But I did like how they really started falling for one another. It was quite cute. Like the scenes at the amusement park were quite cute, and some backstory on them was quite tragic as well. So that was quite sad. But, you know, I really did like the story. I like the story. I like the characters. Sex scenes were good. It's really hard to talk now. Like, we're now 8 yaois in to say something kind of different. So I feel like I'm repeating myself, but it was good. It was very good. I'm gonna give this one a 6 on steaminess. It had a couple of hot scenes, but that's pretty much about it. And for enjoyment, 7. I definitely enjoyed this more than Change World, which I think I also gave a 7. I can't remember now. Definitely liked it more than Gaze Anatomy. Not exactly one of my favourites, but it does seem like I'm gonna have to read the original one now. I think I would read the sequel to this, but I wouldn't read the sequel to Change World, so I definitely did prefer this. I want to know more of what happens next in this one, whereas with Change World I just really didn't care. And that's all I can pretty much say at 1 a.m. However, I'm going to start Scattering His Virgin Bloom in bed, and hopefully this will be a good bedtime story. I love how this first part's in colour, like that's quite hot. Right, okay, before I really get started, I want to kind of introduce what this world is in this, because apparently there are 6 sexes in this world. There are female and male, alphas, betas, and omegas. So those who are alphas dominate the other sexes with their superior genes and sit at the top of the social hierarchy, which is what the love interest for Jaku is. He is an alpha, and, you know, he's come into... It's so funny, actually, because it's like a rip-off of Starbucks. It's called Starniacs instead of Starbucks. So that's pretty funny. So yeah, Rinchaku is an alpha. And it says betas make up the majority of the population. They work, fall in love, and live out stable lives. Then there are the omegas. They're the sex meant for reproduction, so even a male can become pregnant during heat. That's why they're often made into breeders for the other sexes, especially alphas. They're also the rarest and lowest on the social ladder. Well, you would think if they were the reproductive sex, then they should be higher up on the social ladder then, because they're very important, right? To continue the human species. But anyway, I want to go back into it, but I wanted to kind of lay the groundwork of the world down for you in this book, because it was explained so well at the start. I'm really excited, actually, because I've met Hannah as well, who is the Omega. He is the one who is pining over Rinjaku. And, oh, I just expect some steaminess gonna happen between them. This got really weird really quick. Like, I was digging the first half of this. The first sex scene happens really, really quickly, but it was really, really hot. Definitely probably the hottest, maybe the second hottest sex scene I've read today. I've read too many freaking sex scenes, oh my god. And I don't know why this happens, but it just got so weird by the end of it. And it involved Hannah's little brother. I mean, it's not condoned in this book, fortunately. It's not right in this book. It happened, it was weird as fuck, probably the weirdest thing I've read. And also there's just some like questionable stuff said towards the end of this book. So anyway, I was really digging the first half. I did really enjoy the first half. Renjaku as a character is so hot, and I kind of like the idea of the whole like alpha thing. Find me a goddamn alpha. I will have your babies. He is a bit of a dick. He's quite arrogant and ignorant at the start of the book, and even then, he still retains that image throughout. And he's adamant that Hannah will not be his mate. And he can be quite mean. And you know what? That's fine. That's fine by me. It was also kind of funny at times as well. A bit strange. Again, very strange, but quite funny too. In terms of steaminess, though, there was only really one very hot, steamy scene. And that happened very close to the start. So I'll give it a 7. I mean, that scene alone is a 10. But overall, this entire thing, especially factoring in the really weird thing that happens towards the end, I'm lowering it to a 7. And then for overall enjoyment, I was honestly digging it up until like the last half of this book, really. I like the idea of him being a coffee shop worker, and Renjaku coming in, he's a customer that he's always had a crush on, goes into heat, and the only thing that will satiate his heat is Renjaku fucking him. I kind of really like that idea, but yeah, it just derailed a little bit. I would probably still read volume 2 though, to be fair. So in terms of a rating for enjoyment, we'll give it 7.5. It would have been an 8, maybe possibly a 9 if it wasn't for all that really weird stuff towards the end. So it definitely let itself down there. But I would still pick up volume 2, I think, just to see where the story goes and just to see what becomes of Hannah and Renjaku. Do they mate? Like, do they become mates? Like, I need more. I want more alpha omega sex, essentially, because that scene at the start was pretty hot. I've only got one left, and I would read it tonight, but I've been reading Yaoi all day. I've read 9, and that's enough. That's enough for me for one day. So I'll read the next one in the morning. I'll read it with my morning coffee and breakfast, in hope that it doesn't go weird like this one did. Anyway, good night, and God bless. Absolutely outlandish, absolutely crazy. I'm just watching Liv from FrankieReads a lot here. She put her new weekly reading vlog on Patreon, so I'm just watching that. So once I've done with watching this and drinking my coffee, because I've not long woke up, and it's still quite early. I mean, it's like 25 past 10. It's not that early, really. But I do have Given downloaded, all paid for, and I'm ready to read some boy love first thing in the morning. Yeah. Totally. But I have heard fantastic things about this one, so I think this is like one of the more popular yaois out there. So if I end up liking it a lot, I might try and, uncover some of the earlier volumes, because I think volume 1 is kind of hard to get hold of now. But if I like it enough, I think I would definitely go on the hunt for the first volume. That was so cute. That was so cute. I mean, one, I'm so glad it wasn't explicit because it's set in high school. So that would have been inappropriate. So I'm glad it didn't go that route. What it did do, though, was kind of... I mean, okay, nothing really truly romantic happens. It's really the subtext and kind of the slow burn build-up of it as well. Like, it feels like a little Heartstopper-esque. It's just so cute and wholesome. Okay, so what I loved about Given was that it was just kind of like, I mean, it's set in high school. There are a couple of band members who are 20. So I feel like they are just like, I don't know. But there's a little bit of a thing between the two 20-year-olds. And then the other two are 16. And one of them is Yunayama. And he is kind of like our main character. He's the one who we follow from the beginning, and he is quite moody, but like people find him really cool and mysterious. And he goes to a snapping spot where he finds Mafuyu, and Mafuyu is like, it's like, this is so cute, right? Because like obviously Yunayama is, a bit of a hothead. He doesn't seem to like a whole lot of people, but like Mafuyu is just like, he's very quiet and shy and reserved, and he does have a past. He's kind of a bit like, in Yunayama says this, a stray puppy. He's just like this adorable little thing that Yunayama feels the need to stop protecting, and that was just so sweet, especially considering Yunayama is just not really the kind of person you would expect to be so, like, I don't know, like have a heart really, like, or like have like emotions deep within. It's so nice, and There isn't like a moment where they connect or anything. There's no like kissing or whatever. It's been very slow burn, but you can sort of feel the like chemistry between them and how they're starting to really like fall for one another. It's so cute, and I just love the idea of like the whole band thing and how Yuniyama is helping Mifuyu, you know, learn guitar and stuff like that. It's just, oh, it was so good. It was so good. Steaminess, it would have to be a 1 because there wasn't any really steaminess. But honestly, that's absolutely fine. I genuinely didn't want any. And for enjoyment, I think this is one of my favourites of the vlog. And I've said this about a few of them. Enjoyment, I would probably say a 9 maybe. I think it's probably in my top 3. I think... Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to go with. So I've ranked these in order of how I liked them. However, I don't know if my actual ratings that I've said during this vlog will match up. Anyway... These are the ones I physically own, and then the 3 digital ones. So at number 1, we're going to have Dick Fight Island, Volume 2. I genuinely think that's like my favourite one of the vlog. It was hot, it was steamy, it was just everything I wanted, especially considering I enjoyed Volume 1 so much. And then Crimson Spell Volume 1, I think is number 2. Absolutely love the fact that this had to do with fantasy and a bit more of a world, so that was really good. Then at number 3, I think Given Volume 1 will take the number 3 spot. It was just so... good and so cute, so wholesome, really enjoyed it. And then 10 Dance 1 I think will be 4th because I just really love the whole world of dance and the kind of tension between the 2 main characters and how they really got on each other's nerves to begin with. Number 5, I think There Are Things I Can't Tell You. That one was also really sweet, really wholesome, and yeah, I was invested in the story between them. Then at number 6, I think Scattering His Virgin Bloom, Volume 1. Yeah, this could have been higher if it wasn't for the questionable stuff towards the end. And then number 7, Therapy Game, Volume 1. Again, really enjoyed the kind of drama and the story of that one. Number 8, Change World, Volume 1. I mean, it wasn't bad by any means, but it was definitely like, kind of the least interesting for me and not as like hot as the other ones. And then number 9 and 10 are the Gaze Anatomy volumes. I would say Gaze Anatomy number 9 and then Gaze Anatomy 0, I think it was called, is definitely last place. It was just far too rapey for my liking. So that is my ranking of the 10 yaoi books that I read in this video. I would definitely love to read more. I definitely want to read more of Crimson Spell. I want to read more of 10 Dance. I want to read more of Given. I would love to see what happens next with Scattering His Virgin Bloom. I'm also interested in reading more Therapy Game. Don't think I will continue Change World, but who knows? If it's available and it's cheap, then I might get the 2nd volume. But yeah, I so enjoyed myself. Like, there was so many good things I discovered in this vlog. But if you have any suggestions for yaois that you think I would enjoy, please let me know in the comments below. Let me know if you know of any good ones that I might have missed. Then I'd love to check them out. But thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to give this video a like if you enjoyed it and subscribe if you haven't already. A huge thank you to my patrons for supporting my channel. Without you guys, I wouldn't be here, so thank you so much. If you would like to join my Patreon or follow me on any of my social medias, they are all in the description box down below. But yeah, that's it, and I hope I will see you in the next video. Bye. Oh, oh, he's come to say bye. Ash has come to say bye. Bye, everyone.